Welcome to South Asian Environment Dialogue. It's a program, as you all know, where we discuss a range of issues on environment and climate change across South Asia. And as South Asia is an important cog in the wheel in the global environment, so definitely global. And now the issue that is up front in South Asia is part of South Asia, mainly the Indian subcontinent, the countries like India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. Part of those countries are under literally water, and it's flood situation in northeast of India. It's a flood situation in part of Bangladesh, flood situation in Pakistan as well. Uh, the latest figure that I was going through, that in Assam and northeast, about 25 million people are being affected due to the latest round of flood that is happening. In Bangladesh, it was about 4 million, but I was talking to my Bangladeshi friend, Mr. Rokon, and he was saying it's about 7.5 million. Also, I think Pakistan is quite a grim situation. In fact, today I am told that Karachi is going to have a flood-like situation from today itself. I really don't know the latest. So we'll take the latest from you, Dr. Javed. So let me first introduce the panel to all of you. I have with me Ms. Nandita Hajarika. Madam Hajarika is a retired official from government of Assam, an expert in disaster management. I think she has spent decades working on Assam and Northeast disaster management. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure to host you. I have with me Sheikh Rakan, a very well-known name in South Asia working on rivers. He is the Secretary General of Riverine People. Am I right? He's the Secretary General of Riverine People, Bangladesh, being a very prominent face of Bangladesh river movement. And really, we'd like to know from you the scenario down there and what you feel about it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. River and greetings from Dhaka.
Great. I have with me my good old friend, Dr. Asif Javed. Dr. Javed is an environment and climate expert from Pakistan. It will happen. Every monsoon flood will happen. You cannot restrict the flood, but you can definitely make a better arrangement to counter the situation. So what's stopping the administration from doing that from your Pakistan experience, Dr. Javed?
Jayanto, first of all, this is not unprecedented. Scientists long ago predicted these type of consequences, and this is not new thing for us. Reason we know is that climate change, unplanned urbanization, floodplains, as the many scientists mentioned, all those things. We know each and everything clearly. And climate change is not something which can introduce something new. It basically amplify the things, the disaster.
Right.
So why we are not prepared? There are two reasons for that. Number one, there are two sets of policies, particularly for developed nation when they get together and they sign the treaties like Kyoto Protocol and later on Paris Accord or something like that, and they made commitments for mitigation for reductions of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases emission. At the same time, they need to think about the developing world, because developing world, particularly this region, South Asian region, is the most vulnerable region, and who is emitting less. You clearly mentioned that we had a problem of air pollution. We have been high in the air pollution, but even though our emissions to the rest of the world is very less, we are not contributing too much. But Jayanto, remember, we are the most affected nation. 1.3 billion people are living in this region. So the developed nations should set out some policies for adaptation. What we are discussing right here, all failures are on the adaptation side, because we can contribute in a very close, in a very near future, we can contribute very less in the reduction of greenhouse gases. But we can do much more on adaptation side. This is the flood is coming every year, and it will come. Intensity varies from year to year. In 2010, as I mentioned, in Pakistan was flooded. Now India and Bangladesh are under water. You just quote the figure 7.5 million, 1.3 children, and all those things. This is very alarming and very disturbing. So I don't say this is unprecedented. I will call it as a nature's wake-up call. So at least we should wake up at this by this flood. Our government should wake up. Our civil society should wake up, and they should do something. And the international community should help this nation, this part of the world, which is largely affected by the climate.
Very important. But I have a view out here. I'll come to that yes, the developed countries have a huge role, because they have contributed to the carbon cauldron globally, and they have the responsibility, and this loss and damage need to be done by them. But at the same time, we also have our own responsibilities.
Yes,
We need to
obviously.
work at our end. I think perhaps that is missing sometimes. Isn't the fact?
Yes, obviously, we have our own role. I mentioned so many times, we have to change our habits. Our government needs to change our
Absolutely.
habits, our policies. We need to vote because ultimately we are suffering.
Yes,
People
I think
living this country are suffering.
mindset
Yes,
to happen. Flood is going to come. Something as important as upgrading your disaster plan or not upgrading your disaster plan is a criminal offense. It's a criminal offense when the millions of people's lives are at stake. Let's go to Pakistan point of view. Let go further a bit to this whole issue of Dr. Javed. You were talking about that international funds and supports are not coming. I completely agree on that point. But the point is, if you need to have those funds for South Asia, you need to talk in same language. I know I know the countries like Africa, 15 countries. They are fighting among themselves, but at the same time, when they're going to the international COP, they're talking the same language, same voice. Don't you think that more integration between India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh on this climate change and disaster issues is required? Not only from the cause point of view, but also from the solution point. Your take.
yes, obviously, that's very important because we all are developing countries and we lack in the resources and technological, things like that. So obviously, we need more cooperation, and we have some cooperation with India. Indus Water Treaty was signed, so we have clear division of rivers on the water, so we can go together on many issues. And these issues are not particularly because climate change or environmental issues or water issues, they don't have any boundaries. Well, they don't have any boundaries. So obviously, we need to mutually, we need to have a single stand. We need to have a joint voices so that our voices are properly heard in the West, in the countries who can support us, who can help us in the because intentions is there again, so both in the government side and on the public side. Obviously, there is
Right.
intention because with all the South Asian region because you know why? Because all this is needed because if we have not done this right now, Jayanto, we are
It will be too
actually
late.
in the era of consequences. There's no time to think to
Absolutely.
make formulate policies or to plan something like that to make a discussions. We need to take some practical actions immediately after the discussions that could
Absolutely.
benefit the entire country because decision taken in one country, for example, in India, well, good decision obviously will help the Pakistan, and good
Absolutely.
decision taken then Pakistan will definitely help the India and Bangladesh also, all those
Absolutely.
countries.
Absolutely.
That's the most important.
I think very important point being raised by Dr. Javed. In fact, if you go to the ARC's report, the ARC's report of IPCC, which has been released a few months back, you will find that the projection is South Asia is going to be impacted much more. So
Yes,
unless South Asian countries start to work together, and the deadline they're saying that by 2025, we have to start working on these adaptation issues. So I think it's high time that India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan go beyond their geopolitics and start
exactly.
working on climate change and the issues like that. Dr.
All
Ropan,
together.
Sundarban, your Sundarban, our Sundarban. In Sundarban, two-third is in Bangladesh, one-third in West Bengal, India. Hardly